Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Happy ETH merge day. Yeah, it happened today and we saw a sell-off. Isn't that exciting? Buy the rumors, sell the news. That's a warning. We talked about that before. There were a lot of high expectations with the price around the space, but we saw a sell-off. That is what you often see around these events. Not very exciting. Therefore, I often don't really focus on events like these. I usually expect some volatility on days like these, which, to be honest, happened in the end, but you can never say in which direction it goes. Best to stay focused on the technical aspects, and as you know, we are focusing here on the Elliott Waves. But it had its fifth wave down, check. Yeah, that is the wave I waited for, and to be honest, it is played out exactly as I wanted to have it. Not as I necessarily thought it would be like, but as I wanted. Yeah, that's what I said in the previous video, that ideally, to confirm my primary scenario, we would come down in a fifth wave and we would go below $1,500 because it gives us some clarity in the chart, and exactly that is what we want. I'm often not really fussed about in which direction it goes. It's more about, do we have some clarity in the chart? Can we get rid of some scenarios? And you might remember from the previous video, we had here a scenario where that was the alternative. Oops, not that. Where there was a possibility for Ethereum to rally to 1900 and above. I got rid of that now because with the break below 1500, this has become highly improbable. And we'll take it out, and also want to keep it quite simple on the chart. So we've seen 5 waves down. That is first of all a bearish signal. And we are heading further and closer to my target area here for Ethereum. So that's amazing because it means that the scenario is getting more likely that we expect anyway. And that we will eventually get into this area between 1130 and 1330. At least that is my expectation. That is the completion in here, ideally, of the wave 2. Of course, we could go a little bit lower. If we go below $1,000, then I think the wave 2 here will get very unlikely. Then it's not a reliable wave 2 anymore, and we're not in the overall bullish scenario because we expect that here was an impulse in a wave 1, and we're now coming down in a wave 2, and would then move up in a wave 3 that would take us above $2,000, way above. Therefore, I'm going to accumulate down here. So this is the higher level scenario. I've always said how we get there. The route can change. The destination should stay where it is, basically. Yeah. Okay. Now that we got rid of this red wave count where we could rally immediately, which was the alternative anyway only. What is now likely? Now there are 3 scenarios we want to talk about here. They don't differ much, but they differ in detail, and that can be very important. And also could be a bit of a learning experience here for anybody who wants to learn about Elliott Waves. So first scenario on the chart here is the scenario of an A, B, C scenario. So in this scenario, we made 5 waves down, so therefore it's possible. We would now expect a wave B to the upside in 3 waves ideally, or a triangle, and then a wave C down, which would be another impulse in a correction because this ABC pattern is a corrective wave. So that means we have a 5-3-5 pattern, and first of all, we would have to assume that now wave A bottomed. Yeah, if we go any lower, this is not easily possible anymore. So if we lose the intraday low at 1460, I'll probably get rid of this scenario as well. Here I would expect a retracement into the region as a minimum 1586 and maximum 1720. Ideally sort of in the middle, between 1625 and 1664. That's one scenario. The other scenario, and it would work out in the short term very similar, you wouldn't really notice the difference, is here the yellow wave count, that we say this is not an... By the way, how can I say this is an ABC if I say the overall wave here is a wave C? Because you can't have an ABC in a wave C. No, I would have to make it work, and that is possible as a WXY pattern, all of this. We count the correction as W, which is a 3-wave move, X, 3-wave move possible, and Y, 3-wave move. So it's possible. Yeah, we can count it like that. So therefore, ABC, it's just to indicate what is happening in the short term. Yeah, I'm not always changing the entire wave count if I just add here a variation. So the other possibility is the yellow count, that we say, all right, this was a wave 1 of an impulse. We are now moving up in a wave 2. Also here, we have to hold the intraday low. If we lose the 1460, that's not easily possible anymore. Then we see a wave 3 down. Yeah, and until this situation, the ABC scenario and the 1, 2, 3 scenario are very, very similar. But there would be another wave 4 and a 5 down. So that would be a little bit more bearish in my opinion. But in the short term, because the wave 2 is corrective and the wave B is corrective, they will move very, very much alongside each other. Okay, and then the third one, which will become the primary if we drop below the intraday low, is this one. Would have to count it a bit differently, but it's possible. We would say that the move down here was a wave 1, not a wave 3. This was a wave 2 correction already. We reached, yeah, it's possible, yeah. And now that we are now in the wave 3. So if we lose the intraday low, this is it. Yeah, this is then the scenario. And that means it will become my primary if we go below 1460. Now that would mean in this scenario, we have to count this as this would be in the wave C, yes. But this would be a scenario where we'd have to count it as a diagonal pattern, where we can also have overlapping waves. And in this scenario, when you have a diagonal, from experience, in a diagonal you would normally see the end of that diagonal to end at the higher end of the support level. So we'd be looking here at, in this area between 1130 and 1330, rather at the area of the high 1200s to 1330. So it would be in the short term more bearish because we go down straight away, but it would overall not end that far down. So just keep that in mind. And again, these were now 3 scenarios, how it can unfold here to the downside. In the end, they will all get here. Anybody who likes to avoid the massive price action in the short term could just focus on the larger waves. And I expect the larger wave to end here between 1130 and 1330. And after that, we should see a strong move up. So this is how it could unfold. Yeah, I gave you clear conditions for each scenario, key resistance points, and also the condition for this blue count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a diagonal, that we need to break below the intraday low to make that more likely. And that's where we are. Yeah, that's where we are. I did, for info, yeah, I always update channel members first on Telegram and Discord because I can't always do a new video. But I did here around 1500, just below that, some ETH now, after I took profits at around 1700. So I'm quite happy with just starting to scale in slowly, very slowly. Yeah, it's a very small position. So you can always limit your risk by either using a stop loss that's tight or shrinking down your position size. Yeah, I have no problem with if it goes down from here. So I'm speculating a little bit on this ABC or the 1, 2. But if it doesn't happen, no problem. Yeah, if I haven't set a stop loss in this case, because on the spot market anyway, it was a spot buy. And I would expect anyway that if we go lower, yeah, then the situation will clear up anyway. And then I would expect a reversal. And I will probably go in quite aggressively here, as I've been saying already all along, basically. Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, we have been expecting, sometimes because we are so much focused on the short term, but we have been expecting this correction from when it started here. We talked about these levels down there and we're getting closer and closer. We talked about the wave B and we're now talking about the wave C, which ideally will unfold as well. Yeah, and then we should all be good and could expect another bull run when we have reached the target. And that is my plan, which doesn't, of course, have to work out. Yeah, I can't promise you that this is playing out, but I always try to show you the most likely ways of how the market can unfold. And hopefully it can add to your own decision-making process. Okay, that's my update about Ethereum. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.